I have an extra fun video today. It's my first ever Christmas in July video. Plus, I'm doing a first ever collab with my friend Lianne from Simply Enjoying Crafts. We are doing a Craft My Friend's Stash challenge, and it's Christmas in July. We're sent each other a box of ordinary DIY items to DIY with that are just ordinary out of our stash, things that we're just ready to get rid of, and we need to make Christmas DIYs with them. Let's see what Lianne sent me to make Christmas decor with. I will try to do this fast so we can get on with the crafting. A little note. Hello, Kendra. I hope there are some items in here that you don't normally use. I'm so glad we could do this fun collab together. Happy crafting, your friend Lianne. She is super sweet. If you don't know Lianne, check out her channel. I'll have it linked in the description box below, that little arrow underneath the video. And most of the time it'll say more, and you click more and it'll give you all the stuff that we say is in the description box. Okay, oh wow, cute. Gotta love some greenery. Oh, she was sweet. She sent some Christmas stuff. Ah, she was sweet. She cheated. This is not everyday stuff that you can craft with. She's gonna make me think outside the box. Ooh, nice. Burlap roses. Never had those. I love those. She did good. Oh my gosh, I wanted this so bad from my Dollar Tree. Never got it. That rub-on wood. Okay, let's get busy. Let's DIY. Okay, this first piece, I took this little art decor piece and sanded it down a little bit. Just not a lot, but a little bit. Then cleaned it up. And then I'm going to give it one coat of paint on the front of, I believe I used Vintage Linen by DIY, and I thought I could be all nice and neat, and then I got wild, so I ended up using some blue painter's tape to tape the edges. See, I got some paint there. The good thing about the DIY paint is it's clay-based, water-soluble, so until you seal it, you can always wipe it back. But that's a little bit extra work, and sometimes, you know, you don't want to mess up your finish, so I just went ahead and taped it off. Now, I use a lot of DIY paints, and I get my DIY paints from Sammy over at unicorndustdesigns.com. So her link will be in the description box below. So go ahead and go over there if you're interested in any DIY paints or anything like that. I'm going to use a Monet's Garden, and I'm going to use this Essential Stencil that I ordered. And I'm just going to use the Christmas trees, this little portion of it. This was my first time to use their stencils. I just ordered some, and it was a little different than most stencils that I've used. It took a little practice. I did practice that Christmas tree on a piece of paper before I started. That's why it already had green paint on it, and I highly advise that so you can get the feel of how to use it. I use the circular method. I use the dabbing method. I'm using a stencil brush and very little paint on my brush when I do it. And I go back over it and over it and over it to get the amount of coverage that I want. And because I wanted these trees to have a little dimension, I did a little bit more coverage in some areas than others. And then I'm going to use, what is this? Queen Bee by DIY to do the stars. And I'm just going to do them just randomly. I'm going to do some, and then I ended up drying it with my heat gun and then wiping off the back of the stencil so that it was nice and clean, and then placing it just wherever I wanted to place it where the stars would look nice. I did some big ones, some little ones, and I'm not going to show you all of that redundant painting, but that's how it turned out. Then Lianne had put in these cute little red and white berries, which were Christmas-y-ish, and I thought they were really cute, so I'm glad that she put them in there. And I'm just going to wrap two of them together with some twine and tie it off at the top. I'm going to also make a little twine bow and attach that to the top of this little portion at the base of the berries. You'll see that in just a little bit. Now I'm going to take some DIY clear wax and wax this. Now this green tends to smear with when you wax it. I could have put Big Top. I should have put Big Top on it. I just love the way the clear wax looks, so I was really careful not to smear my clear wax onto my white. This little crock was so adorable with that little bird on it, but I had a better idea in mind. And so it came off really easy. I just took my little X-Acto knife and just scraped it. It came off very easy. And then I just took a nice clean cloth and wiped it off. I took a baby wipe. And I wiped it off, and then I dried it off. And then I am going to use Dixie Belle's Slick Stick. This is if you're going to paint on a slick surface that makes it difficult to paint on because the paint slides around or what have you. And I just followed the instructions. It says to give it a coat, wait a few hours, give it a second coat, wait overnight. And I did just that. And now I'm coming back and I'm going to use Marquee by DIY. And I love this color. I used it with all my patriotic DIYs, and I will probably, this will be my Christmas color as well. It is just a beautiful shade of red, and I'm going to give it, I can't remember if I did 1 or 2 coats. It covered really well. I'm pretty sure I did 2 coats because I wanted it to be a little more even. And then I'm going to coat it with a Big Top. So I gave it a thin layer of Big Top because I'm going to use some IOD stamps to stamp the word joy. And I forgot to hit record, so I'm going to do joy on the back as well. So I cannot remember I think it's called, I don't remember, it's the alphabet. Anyway, I get my IOD stamps, molds, transfers from Two Chicks Home and Market over in Denison, Texas. It's a gorgeous little shop over there. She's also on Instagram, but if you want to get 10% off if you're a first-time buyer, then you can go to her website. You can get 10% off your purchase if you use the link in my description box. Now, I just wanted to put a little white on there to just give it a little bit of, little extra something. And then I'm going to take these little pieces of greenery off of a swag or something that I had. I just cut them off. And I wanted to make this look like a little wreath on top. I really wanted to put wooden beads, but the wooden beads wouldn't go on there. So I just decided to make a little wreath on top. And this turns out really cute. So I just wrapped it around. Easy peasy, so easy. And then I took some more of that red and white little berries on a stem, and I cut them off. Oh, nope, before that, wait. I have this baker's twine. I love this red and white baker's twine. And I'm going to put it around the top and the bottom of this red. Now, when I was painting it, I was thinking I'm going to put twine or something around that. So I didn't care. That's why I didn't tape it off when I did it. Okay, I did it on the top and the bottom. There you go. Now I'm going to cut these little berries apart. I thought I would just try to not cut it apart and just put it all in one piece, but I didn't like the way it looked, so I just cut them off, and then I could put them a little bit more organically wherever I wanted to put them. And so I'm not going to show you all that. It's kind of boring, and it wasn't a very good angle. And then I made a little bow out of that baker's twine and put it right there, and I think it's adorable. Look at all these wonderful goodies that were in the box. I'm going to use these plus this package of napkins that my friend Anya brought me from Germany a long time ago, and I've never done anything with them. And so I'm placing it on here to see what part of the napkin I want to put on this little wooden oval plaque. And when I peeled it off, it is very translucent. You could see through it. So I decided I wanted to paint my oval wood round. So I'm looking on my little paint swatch that I made of my DIY paints, and I'm going to put this napkin on there to see which one that I liked underneath it the best, and crinoline won. And you know what? It really looks about the same as the wood itself. So I took some weathered wood and just heavily dry brushed. I just did it a little bit at a time though. So I did a little bit, and then I just kept adding until I got it the color I wanted, and I kept putting the napkin on top to see, you know, if I got enough to where it didn't look just, I didn't want it solid that dark, okay? So now I'm putting Mod Podge. I'm going to put a layer of Mod Podge on. Now, I have Mod Podge in this little container because about in probably 2018 or 19, I purchased a gallon jug of Mod Podge, and I'm still using that gallon jug. So while that was drying, I got these little snowflakes, and I took some faded burlap and some weathered wood, and I just went back and forth with a makeup sponge and just dabbed it on there till I got the colors I wanted. Now, once that Mod Podge was completely dry, I'm going to take my napkin and a piece of parchment paper and my little heat press. You could use an iron, just no steam, and that's going to reactivate that Mod Podge, and it makes for beautiful, no wrinkles, no creases, smooth like it's supposed to be on there. It just melds it into the wood almost. Now, for this beautiful rope, braided rope, I absolutely love this. And I knew exactly what I was going to do with it when I saw these two pieces. This had to be the frame for this. So I just glued it around. It stuck really nicely to this wood. And now putting it together at the very end was a little tricky. It was really hard to cut, and then it was kind of bulky. So what I did was I separated the ends a little bit, and I put one of those 3 cords toward the front and the other 2 toward the back, and then I just glued it down. You'll see. And then I'm going to put a bow there on the top anyway, so you're really not going to see that part of this piece. You can see here that I'm gluing those 2 pieces to the back, and then just put enough hot glue and just kind of mashed all that hot glue into those little strings of that are sticking out. Okay, then I just took some scrap pieces of burlap that I had, a little scrap piece of burlap ribbon here and there, my little bits and baubles. If you listen to me very often, you hear me say that. And then those beautiful burlap roses, and I'm just going to stick them all on there. And these little pine cones, I'm just going to stick them all on there however I want, however you want to put your things together like that. You know, just it's kind of eyeballing it. Put it on there. If it looks good, glue it down. If it doesn't, move it till you decide it looks good. Then I'm going to take these very neutral, I started to call them sunflowers, snowflakes, and glue them down. And I love how neutral and rustic this looks. Okay, this DIY is kind of a 2-parter. I'm going to take this little plank of wood and these rub-on transfers that I'm absolutely in love with, and some decals I made on my Cricut last year that I just stuck in a box because I knew I would use them again. This rub-on transfer was so easy to use. I wish I had not cut that. I wish I had just put it in the middle and wrapped it around, because I ended up cutting little tiny strips and piecing it together. I did not show that to you, but I did. And then when I pulled it off, there was one little corner that didn't stick, and I just cut another little piece and just put it on there. And I mean, when I finish this, you cannot even tell that I pieced that together. And I did all the edges with that too. I should have just wrapped it around. Then I took some weathered wood and just did a heavy dry brush, or just a messy coat, whatever you want to call it, on the back. Now I'm just going to apply this decal to this little sign. I decided not to use the word peace. It didn't fit. I didn't like the way it looked. So I'm just going to use this little nativity decal right in the center. And it's just very simple, but says the message of Christmas and what Christmas is really all about. It was about the birth of Christ. And then I'm going to take some twine and I'm going to wrap it around each end of this, and at the end make the hanger with it. So I'm going to have Lianne's video linked in the description box below. We decided to do this collab together. We are friends, and we became friends through YouTube, and we talk to each other almost every day, and she is just a sweetheart. So go over to her channel, or go and watch her video, and then go to her channel and check out her other videos. Okay, here's part 2. This is a little wooden something I got at Home Depot a while back, and then I have a spindle, and then this little sticker that I had in my stash, I just took the little sticky off the back, and I'm going to use that to make a flat surface for this spindle to stand on. And then I had that little, I don't know if you want to call it a knob or a half ball or whatever, in my stash, and a little eye hook that we're going to open up and use for a hook. Now I cut a little skewer down and put it in those holes that were already in there, and some glue, and I'm going to put some tape on it to hold it until it dries, and that'll just give it a little extra added security. And then I'm going to put some of that Titebond on that little wooden disc, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other end with the little skewer. And those holes, that spindle already had holes in it for some reason. Okay, I did not get on camera, but I painted this with Waverly's chalk paint in black. Now I'm taking beadboard by DIY, and I'm going to dry brush. I'm going to do a heavy dry brush. I start out pretty light. I just go back over it and over it till I get it the level that I want. Actually, on that bottom, that's about the level that I wanted. But on the top of it, I just kept doing it until it's how much I want on there. I didn't want it to look too white, and I didn't want to use the white wax because that would make it look too gray, in my opinion. And then I'm going to clear wax the whole thing because we need to seal it. And I just love the way that the clear wax looks. So I'm applying it with a brush so I can get down in all those little nooks and crannies and crevices. And then I'm going to take my old piece of t-shirt and buff it out so that it's all nice and smooth and evenly distributed pretty much. And then I'm going to take my drill, and this little thing was so difficult to drill a hole in, but I just wanted to get it started so I could put that little eye screw in there for a hook, for my hook. And I worked and worked until I finally got it done, and then screwed that little, it's an eye hook that I opened up to have a hook because I didn't have a hook. And then we're going to just hang that little plaque right on there. I think this will be so cute to hang mini wreaths on, or mini signs. It is so cute. And I just had to use this little Jingle Bell napkin ring. It is so adorable. It looks like a little wreath to me. So I had these wood rounds in my stash that I order on Amazon. I usually use them in my Sunday school class. I glued 2 of them together a while back and never used it, so I drug it out, and I'm using that black by Waverly again, and now I'm using Big Top to seal it. And then I just am going to use that method that you use to hang a wreath with some silver ribbon, hot gluing it all down together. This is super easy. It turns out super cute, and there's so many different ways you could do this. I could have, and probably should have, put my hanger through that ribbon instead of attaching it to the back, and it would hang nicer because that little napkin ring is pretty heavy, but it still works out great. So I do not obviously have my Christmas tree up in July to hang this on to show you how it's going to look hanging on a Christmas tree, but I did have some greenery, and so I will display it with some Christmas greenery so you can see how beautiful it would be up against that greenery on a Christmas tree. Okay, we're busting out the casting resin. I love this amazing casting resin. 10 minutes it sets up and it turns white. So make sure if you get it, you get that one. Part A, part B, mix it up really good and then start pouring. And you better get to pouring because it sets up in 10 minutes, remember? And it starts getting really warm. So I like to pour a lot when I do it. I don't like to just mix up a little bit and do a little bit. So I poured quite a few of these. So stay tuned for DIYs using these cute little, I don't even know what you call these things, but they're like little, yeah. Put in the comments below what these things are called because I can't think right now. Okay, then I'm taking Marquee and I am giving this one coat of Marquee, and I actually decided that it wasn't dark enough. So I mixed some cherry picked and some Marquee together about equal parts, and I liked the color of it. It matched the scrapbook paper that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using some scrapbook paper as a background in this frame, and it matched way better. And then I'm going to use the glass out of that frame, and I don't know that you can really see. You can see the glare on it. And I'm putting it to see where I want my frame to, what I want my frame to frame. And then I'm just going to cut it out with my scissors. It doesn't have to be perfect edges because it's going to be in that frame. And then I'm cutting out a piece of cardboard, a little thin piece of cardboard as well. Just I had in my stash. It came out of something packaged, and I just never throw this stuff away because I know I'm going to need it. Says every craft hoarder. I'm going to just take a regular glue stick, just a school glue stick, and glue this down. This never fails me, and I usually take that little squeegee tool and really press it down in there, and it just makes everything bond together. And now I have this. When I poured resin before, I had this little medallion left over. I'm going to take some white swan and give it a good coat of white swan, and then use some dark wax on my frame and wipe it down. I love how this turned out. I think it brings out all the little details when you do that wax. And then I waxed the medallion, and I went back and forth. I waxed it, and then I used some gold gilding wax on it, and I used some white wax. I was trying to get it to look like an ornament on that piece of scrapbook paper. I ended up loving it in the end, but I did a lot of steps. So if you don't love the way something is looking, just keep working at it. Don't give up. Just keep going and keep going. I think I actually added more gold after that I didn't get on camera. And then I just took a little bit of that gold and just little tiny bits on my finger at a time and just rubbed it here and there on this frame. And I think it just really, really was the finishing touch that this frame needed. You guys let me know which one of these is your favorite. Did you have a favorite? Did you like them? And do you enjoy Christmas in July videos? This was my first time to do that, to do one of these. And then I'm just going to pop all of this back in the frame. And then there were some gold pip berries, and I decided to wrap that around the top of it and called this one finished. Thanks guys for watching. You all are very special to me. I love all your comments, and remember to be still and know that He is God.